Hello everyone, it's Clemens Reddick here from the Great Performances Group. I want to talk to you again about positive feedback management. Just a quick review of what positive feedback management is. So positive feedback management is using feedback to manage the behavior or to encourage the behaviors that we want to get results in our organizations, whatever those results are. It is looking at the clarity of outcomes, the clarity of the results that we want, pinpointing the behaviors of our team members that will get us those results, and then providing feedback when we see those behaviors, when we experience those behaviors as managers, to get more of the same. And the goal of it all is this magic thing called discretionary effort, which is when an employee does more than just the minimum to get the job done. So we'll see if you can pick up a pattern in what we see here. A, needs the most assistance. No assistance needed in technical delivery. He needs a phone call when he's building options. He needs to learn how to take his blinders off and not zero in on just the problem. B, needs to slow down and take time to make sure he's protecting the customer's assets, triple checking every area he works in. Sales-wise, he's good to go. Needs to not go for the jugular right away though. C is wonderful. Still needs some technical support. Technical work needs more help than sales. D has been great lately. E is also on fire lately. F needs to start every morning getting organized. He needs to be wearing his uniform every day, as well as making sure he's filling out his timesheets at the end of every day and sending them in. And finally, we have G. G, sales have dipped lately. He's shying away from our pricing and needs to have a talk with management again. Did anybody pick up a pattern in all of that? Did you notice how the negative feedback, which by the way, in effective feedback management for an organization is important. We need to know what kinds of things are not working, where the no-go zones are. That's good. But did you notice that how articulate this manager was in discussing the negative attributes and the negative behaviors of her direct reports? But when it came to the positive stuff, it got instantly vague. And this email just struck me because I haven't seen a lot of examples of how easy it seems to be for management staff to identify things that are not working and be quite precise about it. And yet when it comes to identifying what is working, it suddenly goes completely vague. So we've got sometimes in a couple of cases here, 3 or 4 sentence paragraphs describing performance that is subpar. That's not the kind of behavior we're looking for. And then for instance, employees D and E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words. Has been great lately and is also on fire lately. There's not an issue here of observation. Clearly this manager is observant. A lot of the behaviors that needed to be corrected were well observed. But you can see that there's something off here in terms of like, why is positive behavior not being articulated in exactly the same degree of precision that negative behavior is? So let's look at 3 reasons why this matters in this particular case here. The first one is just the elephant in the room, people. It's about tone. If you can imagine working in a place like this where generally the conversation is about what you are failing to do and what your team is sucking at, if that's what I show up to work for every day, I am not going to use my discretionary effort, because I know what's going to happen is the good stuff I do is going to be minimized and the positive stuff I do is going to be accented. And if I'm trying to be profitable, if I'm trying to maximize my retention as employer, that's going to be a big problem. The second problem is that it's vague. There's a lot of precision here around the undesirable behaviors or the behaviors that are not getting us to the results that we want on an employee by employee basis. But there's an incredible vagueness around what is good behavior. So if I show up to work and I'm trying to exercise my discretionary behavior, I'm trying to dig deeper and give that 101%, what is it exactly I'm supposed to be doing? It's really clear from this manager what it is I'm not supposed to be doing, but it is it's not even fair to say it's less clear. It is almost completely absent. So the vagueness is not helpful. It is fair to ask that I know as clearly what it is I should be doing with the same precision as I am told what kinds of things I should not be doing. And the third thing is of course the results. The results that the employee in this kind of environment is going to aim for is the result not to get into trouble. So instead of reaching out to really try to go for that and make that discretionary effort, to go for that mythical 101%, to give that little extra every day, this environment makes that really unclear. What it makes it clear is what kinds of things I should avoid doing so that I don't get fired. That part's extremely clear. It gets a little vague as far as results goes, what I should be doing to help me grow the organization, to play my role in that. So you can see the part. So let me wrap this up. If people are still out there going, well, okay, I get that, but what would that look like if this were positive, uses positive reinforcement to get more of the good behaviors we want rather than only trying to tamp down the negative behaviors that we want to stop. To create examples is to take some of the negatives and make them positive. This one person here says he's shying away from our pricing and needs to have that talk with management again. But why is there not a comment that says something like, have been looking over their quotes and have had conversations with them that the pricing is on the mark every time. In fact, they seem to be finding ways to improve our gross margin just that little bit in the way that they're quoting, and their pricing consistently is excellent. That's not that hard, right? How about this one here around triple checking every area he works in as a behavior that is not happening? Well, why in here, for instance, E, who apparently is on fire, why wouldn't we say something like, E is on fire lately, we've noticed that the callbacks for all of the work, all of the quotes that he's been doing have dropped to 3%. Because he's been triple checking every area. He's actually been using the checklist. We've been going through his paperwork and he's been extremely thorough in doing that work. If it's so easy to make a comment about how something is not being done well, why does it seem to be so tricky to create exactly the same comment but in the positive, which would then, when that feedback, when that reinforcement is provided for the employee, makes it really clear what it is they should be reaching for more of, what they should be digging deeper for. So I just wanted to share that with you. I thought that was such a really great example about how a clearly observant, articulate manager still falls into the trap of being clearly articulate and observant about all the things that are wrong, because there's literally not a single phrase in here that explains precisely why C is wonderful, D has been great lately, or E is on fire. Yet all the negatives are outlined in great detail. It was just such a perfectly crystal clear example of what positive feedback management does not look like. And hopefully at the end there gave you some examples that might be helpful in terms of growing your organization, getting your employees to dig deep for that discretionary effort that we want them to make, of the kinds of things we could be saying to them that would encourage them by saying the same things but in a positive framework. The ones that are doing it right, commenting on the fact that they are doing it right so that we can get more of that particular behavior. Good, I hope that was helpful, and we'll talk to you again soon. It's Clemens Reddick here from the Great Performances Group, helping you grow your organization through positive feedback management.